Welcome, guys. We are live. Thank you for joining us, lads. Welcome to the Flats.
Thanks, mate.
It's good to finally have you in.
Thanks,
We've been
Nick.
talking about it for a while. You got the album coming out, so it's the perfect time to get you in.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You had guests like Jimmy Pike on before me and stuff like that. I'm not really happy about that. I'll have to have a yarn afterwards, but anyway, that's fine. Barnesy,
Jack,
what are we doing
good
tonight?
to see you, mate.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Gosh, it's been a long time.
Yeah. When did I see you last?
Don't know. It's been a while.
Well,
we
we-
finished making a record a little while ago.
That was in November. We've seen each other before then.
We have.
Yeah.
You're usually leaving stuff in the studio, so you probably came around to pick something up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's probably about right. But I thought we'd kick this podcast off.
Oh, you're the host. Okay.
Well, someone's got
You guys are both the host tonight, so
Okay.
take it away.
Someone's got to take the reins and get not much from
All right.
over here.
All right, mate.
Okay. Matt, I'd like you to detail how we met and how we started working together, and we'll see if it matches up to my
How we
series
met.
of
It's not
events.
going to match. Let's have a go. So I moved from Brisbane to Canberra quite some time ago, getting on about 10 years.
2013 is when I first clapped eyes on
Right.
you, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Worked at UC for UC Live, and there was this bloke kicking around some muso called Jack Biilmann,
Yep.
and they were like, oh, it's Jack. God, he's such a pest. And I didn't know what they meant then,
Who said
But-
that?
but now I know what they mean.
Blacklisted.
So I met you at UC,
Yeah.
and you played a bunch of shows for them. I hadn't yet built a recording studio in Canberra,
Yeah, that's right.
and you know, when that time came, you were the one helping me carry furniture in and put walls up and
Yeah. No, real good Aussie bloke
bits
for
and
that sort of stuff.
bits and pieces.
Yeah.
You and another local musician, Dom
Yep.
Lavers.
Yeah. Yeah, Dom was... Dom was just handing his ashtray in a motorbike, wasn't he?
Love him.
I'll cut in. I
Please.
remember it was just at the end of the secondhand salmon, like things were sort of coming to a halt there. Like
The Secondhand Salmon being a band of yours.
yeah,
For those that
yeah,
don't
no,
know.
I remember that. And then I was like, I want to sort of break out the acoustic stuff, and we got chatting. And when I sort of found out that you weren't, you knew what you were doing, I sort of thought, yeah, let's go ahead. And then Charred and Black, first song in your studio.
Charred and Black is
Live.
a very special song deep in my
Yeah.
bones.
Yeah, and that was live too, I remember. Like, I sort of listened to it now, and I sort of cringed that, like, now versus then is two different things. But I sort of think, like, we did go back to that live, just doing it warts and all, bare bones for this album. So it hasn't left us, but I think that was a nice way to kick it off.
That was the first song we did in the studio. I think the first song recorded at all in that studio.
Yeah.
And did pretty well. Sounded nice.
Yep.
And it's a good song. I don't know. It's cool.
Oh,
It's long. It wanders.
yeah, it does. Yeah, songwriting could be better, but that's,
Good melody.
Yeah, I think we need to redo it. We need to redo a version of it. Like, keep the good, get rid of the bad, and
The remastered.
Well,
Yeah.
let's revisit it with, like another 8 to 10 years under the belt. And then
You reckon
people
more
will,
time?
people will be able to listen to the original when,
Yeah.
We first met, and then listen to having worked with each
funny.
other for a decade.
It's not one of the top streamed songs that I have on my catalog, and people ask for it like wherever I go. It's weird. I don't particularly think it's one of the best ones compared to some of the other ones.
But that's the thing. Don't you find that you just can't predict it as a
No.
as a songwriter,
No.
as a musician? You can worry till the cows come home what people are going to like. What do people
Yeah.
want to hear from me? And it doesn't matter.
nuts.
You can't try as you might. Have you ever gone, yeah, people are going to love this, and that's actually what has happened? Or has it been a bit of a dark horse? You're like, wow, I never thought that would be
it's
the one people
almost like
like.
you pick your single songs and that all happens, and then down the track, like Empty Bars example.
Yeah.
Another one that was just done live, everything live all at once. Apart from we did a solo over the top, but you got to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's. I heard an interview with another musician, and they asked what are your favorite songs? Like, tell me your favorite songs. And he said it's sort of like you're picking your favorite child because you come so far with them Like you conceive them, you raise them, and then you kick them out of the nest. And it's sort of like you just don't know what. Like one of them might turn out really good, and you can't control these things like that. And that's what I think has really captured in this new record is there's no. It's like I wrote this song because I want to write it, and there's no other pulling factor to the fact that that's what it is, and that's what I want it to be. So that's
a nice song. You don't have your headphones on, so you don't know that people can hear a little bit of it now. But why don't you talk about that song?
Sorry?
Empty Bars. What's it about?
It's very self-explanatory, Empty Bars. It's about getting in your car and driving, anywhere between 3 and 6 hours on tour, and you're really pumped up, and the local paper's done a story, and you've been on the phone with the local mayor, whatever you can work out, and then 10 people are there, and you're like, what am I doing here? I could be at home, snuggled up in bed, what am I doing? But then the next show you might think, okay, this is going to be even worse because I haven't been here before, or I've only toured here a couple of times or whatever, and it's sold out, and it's the best night of your life, and you meet all the locals, and then they come to the next 5 shows. You just can't predict this stuff, and I sort of just wanted to capture that feeling of, when you're carrying your gear in, all the locals, like, who's this bloke? Like, get out of my town,
Yeah.
Like it's it's just that moment where you're like,
I would normally know how you come to write a song. It's normally something I ask in the process of, preparing to record it. I always sort of thought that you wrote that song either on the way to a gig or, 'cause I know you're doing gigs down in Jindabyne. I imagined you like driving down on the road or driving back after like a shit gig or something.
There's always plenty of people down in Jindy, mate. So, but yeah, let's say
I'll look after the Jindabyne contingent. Yeah, that's right. They did name a beer after you. I'm sure that'll pop up later in the chat.
Let's address it now. When your mate owns a brewery.
Biilmann beer.
Yeah.
Biilmann beer.
Yeah, we've actually got some plans for that later in the year, but I don't want to give too much away, but I'll tell you the story of the Biilmann beer. Carl's a good mate of mine who owns the brewery. Very strategic sort of, placement to get to know Carl, and he's a great bloke, and his family, they've done a lot for me over the years, and they're great mates of mine. We were sort of just having a beer after service, and I sort of had a few tins. I played a gig, and it was all great and good gig, and I was on top of the world. I said, "Listen, Carl, mate, you should make a Biilmann beer, like why
just
not?"
lobbing it out there, being like, "Here's a fantastic idea."
Yeah. Oh, I'm a fisherman, so baiting the hook, out we go. And I thought, let's see. And he said, "All right, what do you want it to taste like?" And I said, "Well, as far as I know, you don't have any pale ales on tap, and I like a pale ale. I like all their beers, but I said there's nothing pale. I said, why don't you make the pale ale like a summer seasonal beer and call it the Biilmann beer, and I'll get behind it, get the family behind it." And then he sort of said, "Yeah, right." And I thought, "Oh, that's good."
Why?
Well, no, because there's a hole in the market. Anyway, and then they put it on tap. It comes on and off as a seasonal beer, so it's a very summery thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it started.
All right, question. Do you have trouble with people understanding how to spell and or pronounce your surname?
Pronunciation's always been pretty good because you can't sort of bugger it up unless you put another letter in there that's not in there, which like some people do, but yeah, like weekly, like I-N, like you're on the phone to like Telstra or something and you're like, "Hey, it's Jack Biilmann here. Can you please give your surname?" "Yep, Biilmann." And they sort of ask you if you sure? I'm like, yeah, pretty sure. I'll just give Dad a call. Hang on. Like it's weekly.
I wonder if you were to stand at the bar while people were ordering the Biilmann beer, what you'd hear.
Well, if you want
Biilmann.
Well, if you want to conduct that survey, mate, be my guest. But I've got better stuff to do with my life.
Thank you.
You got other
Good
empty
offer.
bars to be in touring.
Sorry, mate.
You've got other empty bars to be in.
Yeah, exactly. I've got
instead of that one.
Other shows to not selling tickets at. So we've covered how we met. Why don't we talk a bit about you, Matt? Like your journey to where you are now with your production and stuff.
Oh, that's kind. All right. I don't want to go too far back, but I will. I studied at university. I studied a Bachelor of Music, majoring in music technology it was at the time. They changed it because all the techs were having trouble keeping up with the music theory. So I did the music theory like any other musician if they were like graduating on a trumpet or a guitar, whatever, except I was in the tech space. From there, I had a job in Brisbane for about 6 years. Got some unfortunate family news with my better half, moved to Canberra. That was originally going to be for 9 months. And that was one of those cases where we're expecting the worst for a person and the best happened.
Yep, a good result.
Rare, but so amazing. And we put roots down. You know, we're happy to stay in Canberra and be around the family, but we need our own space because we were kind of like living in a garage with no plumbing or anything. And, you know, like Canberra winters get cold, man, especially coming from the humidity of Queensland, right?
Yep.
And then I got a job at UC, and it turned out to be something like a $40,000 pay cut for me to move from Brisbane to Canberra. Yep. That's cool. That happened. And then this job came up looking after the ANU recording studios. And I was like, shit, man, that'd be cool. That's me.
It's a pretty cool studio.
You know, and that at the same time I was building Studio 68. And it turned out that building Studio 68 was part of the reason I got the job at ANU, because obviously that shows a bit of dedication to, you know, a thing.
Yeah.
And now, you know, like I've been at ANU now for, you know, 5 or 6 years and love it. It's great. It's a great studio.
I love coming in both.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, don't discredit your little studio versus like this multi-million-dollar ANU studio, because like you know that space and you know your tools, and I walk in there despite I don't know, like, for the viewers at home that are listening, it's not like a shoebox, it's a 2-room studio, but this other one we're talking about, it is something that you would see like the Foo Fighters recording in and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you've done very well. I'm very comfortable in there, and I think we could be very proud of what we've achieved personally in that studio. I
like it. And, you know, it's a great studio for someone like yourself doing like a solo kind of project. And what I love most about having worked with you for so long is that I can listen to the first stuff we did, and I can listen to the most recent stuff we've did, and I can hear how I've improved.
Yeah.
As an engineer and producer.
Definitely.
At the same time, you could listen from your side and you could hear how your songwriting and performance has improved.
Yeah,
like your vocals, for example.
Yeah, well, I like listening back and reflecting, but sometimes it's a bit hard. But it's that's something I always have trouble with, is looking back rather than looking what's going on next. Like, what am I doing? You know, I want to get to here, I want to do that. But yeah, I really think that we've got a good system, and from the me writing a song at home and going, okay, I'm going to get this as good as I can in my own hands. And it's, you know, verse, chorus, or chorus, verse, whatever the form is. I bring it to you and say, right, Barnesy, here it is. Like, what do you reckon?
Yeah.
And then you might say, like, we've had some headbutts over the years, but we've had a lot. Like, basically now we don't really butt heads.
No.
Like, we agree. And I'd like to think the songs are getting a lot better at the start before they get to be chopped up and thrown around. But I love that process. Like that, right, here it is, just me and the guitar. And this is what I'd have with it. I'd have this beats, and I'd have this sort of bass. I might have some slide guitar in it, or it is slide guitar or whatever.
Yeah.
But just that bare bones state, and you just go, that hook is awesome. Like, you don't need anything else, or you need to double that, or you need a less of that. It's too long, it's too short.
Yeah.
But like the new record, like every song's basically about 3:30, like, and it's not really that what I'm trying to say, I haven't really tried to make it that length.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, okay, what does it need? Like,
so our pre-production process has gotten a lot shorter.
Yeah, definitely.
With more experience.
Yep.
So early on, we would sit down and we'd be like, okay, the song's a bit long. Where can we improve the form? Where can we try and hold the listener?
What's a waste? What's not needed?
All that sort of thing. What's the instrumentation going to be?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. But now you're, you know, because we've gone through that so many times, you're doing that in your own time, and you bring me a song and it's pretty much complete.
Yeah.
And it's just me being a second set of ears. I might have 1, 2 things.
Your
suggestions. And you know what my process is? It's like, take it or leave it. I'm never going to be like, no, mate, I really think you should do this. I really think you should. It's like, here's an option. Think about it, take it, discard it. Fine, let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a funny one. Like this whole record I wrote, like at times I've been like, okay, so I'm a blues roots artist, that's what I do. I love it. But how can I sort of infiltrate other genres to try and maybe spark the interest of other people that mightn't consider this sort of music?
Let's talk a bit about the new record then.
Yeah. Well,
so, it's a bit of a new direction. I mean, it's not removed from stuff you've done in the past, but it's, how is it different?
It's different because it's just total. It's not. I was going to say self. Like it's just very honest, and there's no what can I do to get there, or what can I do. It's like actually, what does it need? What I wanted to do. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful, mate and Jumbo. Sounds great, that guitar.
This is the first single off the album. Yeah.
So this is basically just about.
Oh no, there's a good story here.
Oh yeah, go.
So you came to the studio and you're like, Barnesy, I've got this cool lick.
Yeah.
It goes like this. Ding 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 ding. You played this thing. Had this.
Goes like that.
And I'm like, it's got this. Goes like that. Yeah. Goes, and I'm like, it's got this kind of Celtic vibe or something.
Yep.
And you're like, I'm not too sure where to take this song lyrically.
Yeah.
And we'd done a fair bit of the album by this point, and it was going in a certain direction. There's a bit of a dark.
Yeah.
There's a dark, and that's what's new about it. Is it's a little darker than what you've done in the past.
Yeah, it definitely
lyrically.
is darker. Yeah.
And I was like, why don't you go and explore the concept of death and mortality, and go deeper into that hole and see what happens. And then it was literally 48 hours later, you're like, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
That doesn't happen too often either. Like it's usually like I've got a stockpile of guitar stuff and it's like, okay. Now, what does that sound like? It's happy, sad, somber, whatever you want it to be. And then it's like, okay, well, when I have the vocal topic for this, I will put it together. Whereas the guitar came first for this one, and then I was like, it's sort of a bit of everything. Like it's the Celtic, it's a genuine mountain, like it could be in Braveheart or something. That's what I like about it. Like it's got this big, like angry mob, like righteousness.
Chanty.
Or something, yeah. And I sort of thought, what can I do with that? And that's why I came to you and said, what do you think? And then you came with that. And then, like I've had my fair share of losing people in my family and close to me and stuff over the last few years, as pretty much everyone has. And I sort of thought, what's a topic that's with that can go with this, but that righteousness, like that, come on, the fist in the air sort of thing. And legacy, like what are you leaving? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing that's good? What are you doing for you? Like, do you that I don't give a shit sort of attitude as well.
Yeah.
So that it worked really well with that, and it's actually a new tuning. Anyone who's watching who wants the tune, just hit me up and I'll tell you. But it's sort of got that vibe about it, and I've already got a few other songs in the pipeline with that tuning. So I'm really really stoked about it. But yeah, I like that. Like I like that you pushed me to that rather than just being like, I don't know, man, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Like, not that you're like that, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember we went back and forward a little bit on some lyrics in the chorus.
Yeah.
Lyrics of the chorus are, I've saved a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
We can talk about my legacy.
Yeah.
And I think it took us a while to get there because we were, what was it originally? Do you remember?
No, it was that, and then was more lyrics. So what I've always, this album especially, I've tried to write more lyrics than I need.
Yeah.
And then go, righto, what's the cream of the crop? Like, what's good, what's not? Which is a great problem to have. And that's what I say to...
It was, I've got a bottle of whiskey. We can talk about my legacy or something like that.
Oh, yeah. We just phrased it differently.
And we were like, no, let's work this out. It's only one or two tiny little words, but it makes a big difference.
We might have had a few whiskeys that night.
We might have.
Quietly.
But we decided that I've saved a bottle of whiskey.
Yep.
We can talk, as in like you've invited this moment.
Yeah.
You've been waiting for it.
Yeah, it's a bit dark, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's like one word. It's like one or two tiny little words. No one would even know.
Yeah, saved it for the Reaper because
But-
it's going to turn up.
But it does. It contributes to the darkness. It makes a
Yeah.
bit of a big difference.
Yeah, no, that one.
It's like one of my favorite. I even have commented on this already, but it's one of my favorite choruses that you've written. Is that chorus of that song?
It's funny. It came like very late in the like it very well couldn't have been on the album because it just like I had it all mapped out like what was going to be on the album. This just popped up during COVID, and you know during COVID all I did was sort of drink beers in my backyard before I got out of my depression.
Couple of COVID kilos.
No, I didn't. I was training as well, boxing in the shed, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good. Like I actually think COVID for me, like sure it's bad for everyone, and I'm not trying to glorify it, but I came out with the best new mindset because I used to get things so tangled up in my own brain, and and stuff that didn't matter, like that I didn't get on this festival that I want to get on, or this or that, and then I sort of came out going, you know what? I'm really lucky that I've been able to do what I've done for so long. I'm still doing it. I've got a really loyal, you know, community of people around what I do who actually like pretty much. If you've been to my show more than once, I've probably had a beer with you and sat around and had a chat. And not many artists have that. And you only find that out when you compare notes with other musos about what you do and I'm just lucky. And I thought, you know what? That's like 3/4 of the battle. If you have that, like. You're doing something right. Like this, and I'm not going to name this person, but I was at Bawley Point over January, and I was packing down after I finished. It was actually just one of the gigs we could squeeze in for COVID. There was actually 500 tickets sold at this winery. It was fantastic. Bawley Vale, they're good friends of mine. And as I was packing down, there was this guy walking up to me, and he had like an Akuba style hat on, a singlet, bought his thongs, and he had a dog with him. I was like, this bloke's like just me, Bawley Point me. He walks up to me and he said, "G'day, mate. Like I'm so-and-so." I said, "Oh, nice to meet you, mate. How you going? Blah, blah, blah." And he said, can I tell you something really heavy? And I said, okay. And he said, like, I was really depressed about, I can't remember how long it was. It might have been 6 months. He said, like, and I was actually thinking about taking my own life. And I said, oh, shit, mate, that's horrendous. That's really bad. And he said, your song, Own Worst Enemy, came on shuffle on my phone in my car. And it made me just sort of go, you know what, like I can do this. Like I just got to make some changes and stuff. And it just like, that was a moment where I went, you know what, if you can, if you can write a song and someone can hear that and that's the impact. Who cares about other crap? Like that's
totally right.
That's it. So I was just.
But you got a couple of stories like that.
Oh yeah.
That's not just a one-off.
Yeah.
There's a few people.
It's so hard. Like I'm just stoked. Like you just don't know what to say when someone comes up to you like that. Like you're just like, oh, thank you. That's the best. But yeah. And then like I sort of just put my claws into these people and then they become friends. Like so many people who I've met through my music have just become friends. Like, because if you want to come and see show after show after show, that's putting fuel in my car, strings on my guitars and keep me in the studio. So like, it's the best. Yeah. I love it.
No, that's awesome.
It's a nice thing.
Yeah. All right. So new records coming out. Legacies come out first.
Yep.
Are you in a position to let anyone know what's coming out next?
Yep. It's been all over social media. You clearly haven't been paying attention, Matt. I'm actually a bit disappointed by that.
You are right.
Yeah.
That is not something I've paid attention to.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that, everyone. So SOS is the next single. It comes out on Friday. And it's actually a really funny one. Before we get to the song, I'm actually going to be away in the bush with some really good friends of mine fishing because I've sort of structured the lead up to the album with a bit of time to get out and fish and just get away from phones and social media and stuff. And because I'm sort of finding myself getting a bit mentally drained because I'm trying to drive the tour, drive the new album, drive the singles, and it just gets like.
Well, this is an important thing to talk about.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Is the fact that as a musician, as a solo artist, you've got to write a record, record it. That's a big task in itself.
Yeah.
Then you've got a promo, and then you've got a promo again. You got to back it up. You got to tour it.
Yeah.
So
the social media, as you mentioned,
constantly. I can't stand it.
Oh,
I just couldn't be stuffed. I'm so glad that I'm not a.
We're on a social media podcast. Wall up a bit. We don't want everyone tuning in.
It's so much energy.
What I like with what you've done is you've created that community within the social media, which is a bit different to what a lot of artists do, rather than just always pushing out content. You're actually on that community Facebook page as well.
Well, I created the community Facebook group because I was just so over. Like, I remember the first solo single I ever released was Kia's song, Barnes. You remember Kia's song?
Yeah.
So Kia's song was the first song that ever got played on Triple J, and when I was like 24, I thought that I was about to start killing it. I got played on Triple J. I'm like, I made it.
Yeah.
Anyway, how wrong was I? But anyway, I remember that night I said, if this post gets 100 likes, I'll put the song out tonight. And at that point, my page was nowhere near what it is now with volume of people and stuff. And it happened in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, the algorithm, I remember.
The algorithm was just out of control. But now, like, it's almost like a kick in the guts. Like, it might be like a song or something that you've done, and you've had someone come in, you've paid someone, like some creator, to create some video or some graphic, or it could be something you've done, and you go, here it is, and then it gets like 10 likes.
Yeah.
And you're like, 10 people give a shit about this, really? Like,
this is the thing.
But it's not that at all. It's just, and I've learned, that's why I did the community group, because I thought social media actually notifies people when I post in there. So it's like, I said, like, I did this big spiel and said, look, this is what it's about. I just want to break through the algorithm. So if I want to tell you something, you can get, like tonight, I put it in here, said, look, I'm going on a really cool podcast. Tune in. It's so disheartening, but you just need to be able to see through it and see the people coming to your shows and go, oh, that's what it's about.
I feel for you. And I feel for every other musician and every other small business in the country and the world.
And you can't escape
sucks.
It's the way it is. Like,
it's dreadful.
What you're battling up against now is just those looping videos of mindless stuff, and you don't know what you're going to see on there, but
it takes a lot of energy and a lot of commitment.
Someone
to
flipping
be
a bottle.
a successful creative.
Yeah.
And you've got to back it up by playing this game with the fucking algorithms. Just to get eyes on your art. I know it's real. I know everyone has to do it, and I hate it.
I'll be honest with you. If I'm like, hey, I've got a new single. Hey, I've got a show. Hey, I've this. Hey, I'm that. I feel like I'm pushing I'm in the barrow and I'm pushing it. It's like, hey, it's me. But I've got no choice.
I've
got no choice.
I know.
And I sort of feel like, but if I put a photo up of my cute blue heeler Eric, everyone's like, oh, wow, it's Eric. Like, you've got to break it up, because otherwise it's such a hard thing to get your head around. And I can understand why people they just go, oh, I'm done with this.
It is right.
Yeah,
but
fully get it.
I think you're really good at it. I think there are other people that are really good at it as well. It takes brain capacity, right?
I think
at the same time, artists could be making art instead of having to worry about all of this.
Well, it does break your brain down, or whatever you said, but I'd really try and just get to the people and go, hey, like, you meet someone at a show and they've travelled like this far to get there, and they tell you about their Uncle Rick's unwell. Next time you say, mate, how's your uncle? Like, you connect, like, it's not about social media, it's about meeting people. So when you actually get someone, oh, wow, like, that's someone I know now. Like, that's how I treat it.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's such a come and go. The algorithm, like, you'll be killing it on Instagram, and then Facebook will be rubbish, and then all of a sudden Instagram sucks, and then Facebook's good, and YouTube's good. Or like, like a TikTok. Have you seen like TikTok? That's the newest thing at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, have you got TikTok? And I'm like, no, I don't. And I feel like I'm.
Is this what's coming?
No.
I can tell you're thinking about.
I am thinking about it, but I feel like I'm. You know, when I remember I had older mates that were older than me, and when Instagram came, I'm not doing Instagram. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm that with TikTok. I'm like, look, I don't care. Like, I'm not. I don't have the brain capacity and the patience and the energy to get my head around yet another form of social media.
I'll ask a question. Weird question.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about this a lot before asking it. Zuckerberg's always getting sued, right?
Zuckers, yeah.
What if he said, bugger ears, I'm so wealthy, I'm probably the most powerful person in the world at the moment. I'm just going to stop.
Yep.
I'm going to close Facebook. I'm going to close Instagram. How would that affect your career?
Well, it would affect my career, definitely, but it would affect everyone else's. And I'm lucky that I've got a mailing list of people that have been good enough to jump on that. So I've got, people on that.
Yeah.
And I go, well, I've got that. I need to build on that, but I need to get that out. That's the only thing that springs to mind. Like you've just got to attack it from every angle you can. Like even like Spotify and streaming is an interesting one because I've got mates who are the old school mold of like musicians, and that's and I remember when I first started touring, I'd get 2,000 CDs, and I'd sell them over 18 months, and after that 18 months was done, I was ready to record again because I had all that money, and I knew I'd get rid of them. And the more shows you do, the more you get rid of. CDs are now non-existent. Like people still buy them.
People still buy them.
They still buy them. Yeah, like I've got 300 made for the new record, and we'll see how that goes.
No, they do.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know why.
But
because they want to buy something.
They buy it to want to support you, and that's if they do that, they're like something to behold. Like you got to pat them on the back and say thanks. But sorry about burping. So I've sort of come like the amount of people who've come up to me at shows and said, "Hey mate, like that was awesome, like loving me," and I always go like, just out of interest, like I don't know you. Like I usually get to know a lot of people, as I've discussed.
Yeah.
Where'd you find me? And they're like, Spotify. Like I just came up on an algorithmic.
Got this.
Sorry, I can't say it. Playlist and people who sound like you. So off I go.
Who do you sound like?
Oh no.
How's this algorithm working?
Well, no, they just put you in, like, this is not major playlisting either. It's just like you get like your release radar and you might sneak into someone's who listens to someone who's could be described as me, same genres or something.
Okay.
And they go, look, I listened to you on that and now I'm here.
Yeah.
So, like, it's like, right, one of my records, is X amount and then Spotify's X amount. If you're like a consumer,
yeah,
what are you going to do? So who am I? I can't fight that.
No.
You got to embrace it. So anyway, I don't let it get me down.
But the message is, it sounds like you're doing a really good job of this, is when you play a live show, is spend some time after the show hanging out with people and meeting people, getting face-to-face.
The problem
creating little small, albeit small relationships.
Yeah.
Because did I ever tell you about the story about Matty Diaz from Nashville?
Yes, but this is good to
Oh
tell the
my
story.
God. All right, so there's this female artist from Nashville, Tennessee called Matty Diaz, and I went to a show of hers and I had too many beers and didn't get to the merch desk in time because she was supporting someone else. I missed out on buying the EP. I found her afterwards and I was like, I really wanted to buy your EP. And she's like, hey man, no worries. Here you go, have it. Gave it to me. Very generous. And ever since then, I have told nearly every single person I know about this musician called Matty Diaz. And I think she's fantastic.
Nashville.
And that I want you to listen to her music. And she has me as a fan for life.
Yeah.
A fan for life.
I hate the term fan. I hate the term fan because it's like that Chris Lee show, like S. Mouse. These are my fans. I just don't like.
Do you have a suitable replacement?
I just say friends. Like followers is a better term than fan. Like fan. I associate fans with like, the like people who go ballistic in America, like when Justin Bieber comes. That's a fan. I don't have fans. I have people that I get to know that like my music.
Listeners,
appreciators, friends. But yeah, like the problem is though is when you do that, is like the first few tours, like you tour to sell your record and make some money, like so you can do it again. And I'd sort of be like, why didn't I make any cash? And then I'd sort of look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I was out till 3 o'clock there, 3 o'clock there, 3 o'clock. You just end up on the beers with your people that support you, and you're having because you're so high on life that they're supporting you, and you got these people doing it. So I think it's like, what would I want if I was them? I'd want them to come and have a beer with me and have a great all night. Yeah. I've gotten better at it the last few years, but it's I've always struggled with like they just get straight into that mate zone. Like, right, where are we going? What are we doing? Like, and it's so much fun. And if anything, it builds stronger bonds, and you know people. But I'll give him a shout out. I'm sure he's watching. His name's Mark Walker. Mark just doesn't miss a show. If it's in his reach, he doesn't miss a show. And I met him. Can't remember how I met him, through a mate years ago. And seriously, like he'll buy anything. And he's just, I got to know him.
Mark's in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew he would be. Yeah. Stop going through me garbage, Mark. He loved that.
He likes to be known as a supporter.
Supporter.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Lucky you're here.
Well, he's more than a supporter, and he knows it too. So, but yeah, like Mark's asked me to play at his parties and stuff, and I haven't been able to do it. But I will do it, like automatically. Stuff like that. I love that sort of stuff. He's a great bloke, and I've got plenty of them out there as well. So, yeah, it's a funny old thing, the old music game, Matt.
It is a funny old thing.
And the social media side of it, how do you go about keeping that out of your mind in the studio when you're both working together? Like cutting that out of it and not trying to think what's going to get me the like or what's going to work. How do you cut that out? Well,
I pretty much like a lot of time I'll be thinking ahead. Like, what could I do tonight? Like, I don't post as much anymore. Like, I've gotten better at knowing what works and what doesn't. But Matt flat out doesn't do anything anymore. He's like done with social media. So
that helps in a way.
Yeah. So, but like what we did for this new album was, it's like, righto, Matt. So Matt's anyone who's watching, Matt's a family man. He's got 2 beautiful girls, and anyone that's got kids will know that. It's as a creative person, going away, doing this, doing that, living this blasé, flexible life just doesn't happen anymore. And me being such a good mate with Matt, I understand that. Like, I know, like, his lovely wife, Beck's a good friend of mine, love the kids. All right, so how are we going to do this, Matt? Like, how's this going to work for both of us? And we sit down, we crunch it out. So for this record, it was Wednesday nights.
Yep.
We're going to come in at about 7 o'clock and we'll go till about 10 or 11, and then we do that weekly.
Short and sharp.
Yep. And at the start I was like, oh geez, I wish we could have done this or done that. But when I'd come into the studio, righto, we're doing scratch track first, we're getting a click, we're doing that. All right, then we're going to do the guitars. All right, so what do I need? I need these 3 acoustics, these 2 electrics. They're going to be tuned, they're going to be restrung. The pedals are going to be dialed in. At home, what tone do I want? Okay, I'll make all the mistakes there. I'll do it. Okay, in we go. It sounds good. It's perfect. Okay, I've rehearsed the lines. I've rehearsed the licks. Everything's sorted. Done. All right, we do that. Next week, what are we doing? I've got a whole week to prepare for the next session. Vocals. Okay, so what do I need to rehearse? We'll do that. All right, next one is percussion. We've got to talk about percussion on the record in a sec too. But basically, it gave me a buffer to get ready, so there was no mistakes. It was ready to go.
And spreading that out. Over
top
the
notch.
Yeah.
Or when you got a worldwide pandemic and you're not touring or doing anything, like what else you got to do? And one night a week is very achievable because I've got my own life at home and my responsibilities, and so do you. But that wasn't big. It wasn't that big of a hole in our week. We got it done, and then, as I said before, I want to bring up the percussion. My brother, he's a pretty lazy fan. He's probably not even a fan, so I'll call him a fan. Probably not even watching. But he's always drummed on all my stuff, and anyone who's seen him play will know why. He's the best musician in the family by far. Like, naturally, pains me to say that, but anyway. So he unfortunately, he's got really bad arthritis and carpal tunnel in his hands and had to step away from the drum kit, which really hurt me as much as him, really. And Matt's a very capable drummer himself, so I said, well, Matt will do the percussion and drums. It was Joe's birthday. Oh, yeah, this is a bit of Joe action here. And Toddy just had a baby as well. Congratulations. Paddy. So I'll just let you watch him go for a bit.
Get the bro in there.
The animal.
I wanted to get this song up there too. It's such a banger.
There was a blackout that day.
Yeah, so this song, we sent the whole mix to a half-inch tape machine previously owned by Andrew Farris from INXS.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Prior to sending to 301 for mastering, it sounded mad.
Yeah, sounded great. And I want to touch on, before we get to the percussion stuff and Joe, we released this record on March 24 last year, and that's when COVID hit the country. We got the Melbourne show done, and I think half the ticket holders actually showed up, and to their credit, they showed up for us. And then, it was 12 months before that working on this record, and so much coin and effort from everyone. And then it was just like down the drain. Like, no one was interested in anything but am I going to die? Like, what's going on with the world?
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. Like, you can't fight that. And I didn't resent that. I just resented the timing of it all. So, yeah, we've got to get back to that at some point because I love rocking out with those guys. Hopefully, Joe's can be okay by then, but we'll see. And Kojo is all right as well.
But Joe suddenly, all of a sudden, had this diagnosis. I mean, Joe's a chef, works with his hands.
Yeah, Joe's a chef, PT.
Just this devastating, you know, like he's got carpal tunnel and arthritis in his hands.
Yeah, so he'd play a show and like if he had to drive, well, we'd all take turns driving and he couldn't even grip the steering wheel sometimes. It was that bad. And I thought, oh, like, what's going on? And he's still trying to find the right things to do. But I'm confident that he'll be able to sort it out. Like, we just got to do it. But, okay, so there was a massive hole in the project. And I said, well, Matt can do it.
And the plan was, no worries, I'll do it.
Yeah. And I was comfortable with that. I knew you'd nail it.
Me too.
So I was driving over to Joe's for his birthday and being the, like, really thoughtful big brother I am, I hadn't got him a present yet. And I'm like, oh, shit, what can I do? So Michael Barker, who used to play in the John Butler trio, he basically inspired us when we were both kids. Him and John Butler and Shannon Birchall in the original, or not the original trio, but I think the best lineup they had. I thought I'll find him on social media and I'll send him a message and tell him the story and just ask for a video and say, look, you know, Joe, you know, happy birthday and keep your chin up, blah, blah. And I thought, I don't know this guy, I've never met him. He's probably not even going to see it or respond. And I sent it, being prepared as I was, I sent it on the way over to his place. And by the time I got there, it was 15 minutes away. He'd sent through the video. And I was like, whoa, what a legend. And the video is like the best. Like Michael's just like, you know, I feel your pain. I've had problems myself and, you know, keep creating and keep working through it. Don't let it beat you. And it was the best, like basically what I wanted to say, but he wouldn't listen to me. He listened to Michael Barker.
So you managed to hook up a video from your childhood hero.
Yeah,
between leaving your house and getting to your brother's.
But that's testament to him, not me. Like, he's such a good bloke. He could have thought, oh, well, I'm gonna have dinner first, or I might do it tomorrow or next
you're
week.
Lucky.
Anyway, I kept talking to Michael, and you know, what are you doing now after the trio? And you know, since then he plays in his own band called Swamp Thing. He played the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, Split Ends. And before the John Butler trio, he played in the Black Sorrows, which I didn't know. So he's like good resume.
The real deal.
And obviously, if anyone has seen him play, Michael Barker is like as good as it gets. And I sort of said, oh, you know, I'm in the middle of recording a record and blah, blah, blah. And I was sort of basically waiting for him to stop replying because I thought that's what's going to happen. And he said, oh, like, bro, like if you're keen on a drum tracking, let me know. Like, I do remote drum because he's in Rotorua, New Zealand.
He also has a New Zealand accent. Can you try and include that?
No, let me finish.
Okay.
Don't butt in like that. So he said, I do remote drum tracking. And I said, oh, wow, like, that's great. What an offer. But I thought, you know, being his caliber, it'd be, like, out of control, like, so expensive, and rightly so. So I sort of asked the question, like, how much? And what he came back with was like well and truly in the budget. And I was just like, right.
And I was like, you have to do this.
I have to do this.
Yeah.
So I said, right. And then, you know, next day I'm on the phone on FaceTime, having a great old chat. He's a trout fisherman in New Zealand, sport for choice over there. Oh, whenever you want to come over, bro, come over. Like, okay. I'll go stay at Mike Barker's place, all G. So I'd like to, like, Mike's a good mate of mine now, and what he did for that record and what he's done is just, like.
So good.
Just.
You got the travel bubble open now.
Yeah.
And so head over. Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you're watching Mike, make the bed.
It's so good. I mean, these drums came in sounding so good. And it was like, okay, now we're trying to preserve the sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
we don't need to
work
do anything to this. Like, how can we make this work? I felt like just turning all my stuff down by 50% and just having a drum track.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, the track that it showcases what he did is SOS, I think.
Oh, I disagree.
Mirror?
I think Devil.
Oh, yeah?
Mate, he plays a kitchen sink.
Yeah, we don't give too much away to the viewers. But yeah,
That's enough. That's enough of a teaser.
He does play a kitchen sink.
The guy's crazy.
He gives it everything, including the kitchen sink. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, an absolute gentleman, and just so, like, if you had told 17-year-old me that Mike Barker's drumming on my album, I'm thinking that I've got a mansion in Beverly Hills and I've made it. Not that means anything, but I don't know what that popped to my head. But
Yeah. But to sort of summarize the process of recording your record, it was short and sharp recording sessions on an evening of a Wednesday night. And that was, all right, Jack, you're doing your guide tracks. Next week, you're putting down your, keeper acoustic, or you're doing your vocal, whatever it is. And you would go away for that week and you would rehearse that one thing. And you would just focus. You had one task, focus on the vocal. You'd come back and you'd just nail that.
Yep.
And then away you went with the new task. And it was one thing at a time. And while we were doing, short, sharp sessions, 2 to 4 hours long, we could sit there and we could bash out the whole thing, and we could do it all in 10 hours. But by doing short, sharp things over a longer period of time, it's not actually taking us longer. You might be releasing the song later, which is a completely separate conversation.
Yeah.
But what's happening is that it ends up being a better quality.
Yeah.
Because you've got this time to practice, time to reflect, and you can kind of dedicate some effort to one particular task at a time, rather than thinking, I've got all these parts to put down. I've got to do this one now, followed by now I've got to do this one, now I've got to do that one.
Yeah. It's, I don't think I could go back to recording. Like, mates of mine that are musicians and bands that go, we're driving 5 hours to the studio to do this on a weekend. I can't think of anything worse.
It's taxing. It's taxing to do those longer sessions.
Yeah.
For everyone. I've just come out of 2 days of it.
Yeah.
And they're fantastic band, fantastic musicians. But me as the engineer, when you're trying to kind of keep 4 or 5 people in a band like completely happy when they want their own individual things in headphones, and they come back and they listen to their songs, and the drummer hears where they've played something late, and then the guitarist hears something as well, and they're giving you all this feedback at once, and you're trying to make everyone feel like they're equally listened to. Like, it's a lot to kind of manage, and it's burnout time, man.
Cranky Barnesy. I've dealt with a lot of cranky Barnesy over the years.
There's been a couple times, hasn't there?
Yeah, yeah.
What was the worst time where I was cranky? I think I know what it is, but you might have a different memory.
I sort of stay because I'm a cranky bloke myself. Like, if I'm cranky, I'm cranky. But for me, when I'm in the studio, I'm very happy. But at the same time, I get frustrated. But I don't get frustrated at you ever. I get frustrated at me if I can't do. But to be honest, I haven't really got those freeze moments where I couldn't play it, I couldn't sing it.
Yeah,
it's been pretty good. We've got it. But mate, the thing why I wouldn't bring it up as the moment that you were the crankiest is I reflect. I'm like, oh, gee, you were being a flog. Like, you didn't even know.
No, you can. I'm giving you permission. It's okay.
No. I want to hear your side of the story.
All right, mate. I'll be careful not to go too hard because I know that you'll just bury me if I go too hard.
I will.
So the time I remember was we were doing the Biilmann band at ANU, and I'd always wanted you guys just to play as a band, play live.
Yeah.
Just get in there and just go hard.
Yep.
Like, just put it all in one room and just give it hell, and we'll capture that. And you turned up and you're like, oh, Barnesy, I know what you've asked. I know what you want us to do, but I just don't feel like that's, going to be the way to do it. But I'd already put all this preparation into, like, how the day was going to go, how it was going to pan out, how long this was going to take, that was going to take. And then you came in and just casually kind of like went, no, we're not going to do that. And I was like, Biilmann.
I don't remember that. Oh, you know what? You know how you were saying how you're trying to keep everyone in the band happy?
Yeah.
That was what I was doing with the boys. Like, because I just like, and it's funny because like I've sort of been lucky that when I have done stuff live, I've been able to nail it, and it's just been pot luck that it's worked. But so really, like, I could have done it, but I don't know. I find that when I'd rehearse with the boys, I'd be so focused on what everyone else was doing that I would be like mucking up. And it's not the fact that anything more that they're all incredible musicians. Like, in fact, like, I feel like most of the time far more advanced than I am, and I'm going. But as soon as I got on stage, I was fine. But like in the rehearsal, like, what are they doing? It was really weird. And I think that's what that probably was. It was sort of like, if we do it with that less stress environment, everyone can have their space to nail it. Yeah, then we'll be fine. And that's not speaking like, I don't know. That's just what probably went through my head. But I would have picked it up. That you
for me as the person in the producer's chair or whatever you want to call it at the time, that was part of applying a gentle pressure to you in the band, and you kind of like you sort of waved your little flag before even trying,
Oh,
and went
don't-
out.
I'm a
And then I was
trier.
like, oh, okay, like, right.
Don't-
You were trying to make it easy on yourself. That's what
Don't
happened.
say that I'm not a trier. I'm a
Oh,
trier.
you are a
Yeah,
trier.
I'm a trier.
But that day you were
Very
like,
good
oh,
try.
I know what you've asked, but I just think it's going to work another way. And I was like, oh, he's given up. He's given up before he had a
I
crack.
can't say why, but I'll tell you exactly why. Right, I'll tell you why.
Right now or later?
I can't tell you why now.
Okay.
I'll tell you later.
All right. Tell me about, you can tell me now where I've been shit house.
Shit else.
Do you want to do it?
Usually we're just too pissed. I mean, no, that wasn't. No, really, you've been like.
I try to be in your corner, try to build you up. Like,
No, we're like really like if you know what I'm like. If I don't like something that's going on, like you're the first to know then and there, and
Yeah.
we're sorted out or we don't. There's
Yeah.
never been a time where I've been like, man, I'm done with you.
yeah.
Never
Yeah.
been a time where I've been like, this is not a good experience. It's just like, frustrations that you can't nail something, or sometimes it would frustrate me when gear would just muck out, like on your end. Like they say there's something that,
yeah.
and you're like, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to walk in there and go, Matt, that compressor, turn it down, or I don't know anything about that
Yeah.
world. So, but sometimes I'd be like hot and ready to go, and I'd be warm, and it'd be half an hour of mucking around. But that's
Totally.
teething issues in any studio.
You know what? You would think that like bits of hardware would just work and stay working, and for
yeah.
some reason it just doesn't go that way.
But like, who am I to like come and chew you about that?
yeah, but no, I completely understand why that's frustrating for a musician.
Oh, well,
I really do.
it's momentum. Like you just want to keep powering
And
through.
you want to keep your vocal warm. I want to keep you going, and I want to give you absolute bang for buck. That's part of my thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is trying to get, like look after like an old school producer is looking after a musician's budget and getting them as
Yeah.
far as they can get.
Well, that's one thing as well, is like I've never ever set foot in a studio without being 100% prepared, because as an independent musician, like paying for studio time and doing it, it's not a walk in the park. So I'm just letting myself down if I go in and it's like, just, oh, what do you want to do? I don't know. What's a BPM? I don't know.
Oh my God.
What's this? I don't know. Like, what are you doing there? Like,
Yeah.
just wait until you're ready. So I'd always make sure that I'm good to go. But I listen back to the first record. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was prepared. I was prepared to be not knowing what I was doing.
But we've all got to start somewhere, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You got to do it. You got to jump in. I had to jump in as well. They're not my favorite recordings by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, no.
And we were like, what can we do to make it easy on ourselves? I know, let's use a electronic drum kit. That won't happen again.
No, that's bad. But the drums is the bit, like being a little crafty bee I am, when the drums is the most expensive and most time consuming thing. So these drums are already pre-EQ'd. Barnes can do something with them.
Yeah.
Little did I know, it's a stereo file.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
each. Anyway, but like I released a record when I was 18 called My Life, by Jack Biilmann.
Yeah.
I think I've shielded this from you because it's like
I don't know about this.
I recorded with a guy called Neil Porter, who's a friend of mine down the coast. He like literally looked after me as a young fella.
Yeah.
And it was just genuine. Like I could hardly sing. I could play guitar, but all the vocals were like matched with a guitar melody. Like that, na, 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 na. It'd be exactly the same because I knew that the guitar was right and I could follow that.
Oh,
I was on
okay,
a security blanket. And like the other day I had a party for my birthday and a few mates came over and Jody pulled it out and put it on. And all my mates are just howling. Like just, it was the most, they're howling. And and they're like, actually, this is actually really good. Taking
they're into
absolute
it.
piss out of me. No.
Oh,
And I listened back and I go, why did you do that album? Like, why didn't
Brave.
you wait a bit longer? But I've always had that dumb courage. Just get in there and do it. Like, and if you want to come and put shit on me, come and put shit on me. But I'll be the one and that's like Devil's Got a Bed. I'll be the one that's laughing at the end because I love what I do and I'm going to keep doing it. So come and put shit on me and I'll laugh in your face because it's not going to matter.
Devil's Had a Bed is a big song.
But yeah, it's I sort of look, but I wish I didn't have that amount of dumb courage. Like,
hey, you're pretty good at taking a heckle
heckle, yeah.
live.
Yeah.
How did you get so good at taking a heckle?
Aggressive bullying my whole life.
No, surely it's brother related. You've just got to
Oh.
go toe to toe with your brother.
My brother copped a pizzling when he was young by me and vice versa. And we have this, I just spent a weekend away with all my family up in the bush at our family property. And it's almost like just whose turn is it next? Like,
Yeah.
all you have to do is say something wrong and you're it for the next however long. And how you can dig yourself out of it is you by turning the tables on the next person. So I always, anyone wants to give me a bit of a heckle during a gig, it's like, all right, make sure it's good.
Yeah.
Because I
definitely come prepared to a Biilmann gig with some good lines.
No, but ultimately I've got a mic and you don't, so I'm going to win. But
it's almost stand-up comedy between songs of yours sometimes.
I don't want it to be like that, but it just happens. Like it just,
Yeah.
I had a bloke in, I think it was Warrnambool, wanted to go toe-to-toe because he kept going at me, and I was sort of like getting cranky, but I just waited and waited. And he's with this girl, and she wasn't a half bad-looking girl and that, and I sort of said, is that your girlfriend, mate? And he sort of goes, yeah. I said, where's a guide dog tied up? And then like, the whole thing just erupted, and this bloke sort of, you could see he's just like, oh man, I've just been defeated. But I felt bad about it afterwards. But like you're up there trying to do something, and if so, like there's fun, and then it's just like bullying, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to cop this from this bloke. But yeah.
Quick wit, Biilmann. I'll give it to you.
Well, my old man, you've met Mort. My old man
yeah.
doesn't say much, but when he says something, it stings.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't sting. It usually makes you laugh, but it stung me when I was a kid. I was, a bit boisterous for my own good.
He's been a big influence on your songwriting.
Yeah,
Mort
definitely.
Biilmann, your dad.
Definitely, yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, Dad's just very, very working class, but work hard for what you want to do, whatever that is. And, I don't come from a musical family by any means, so this is all new territory for my family and me. I haven't had anyone to really guide me and say, don't do this, blah, blah, blah. But he sort of, he'd refer to rock music as hoo-jar. Hoo-jar is what he called it, because he likes his real, like, Charlie Pride, like, early country stuff. Like, not the redneck country stuff, like the genuine OG country stuff.
But we've done a song called The Battler, which you wrote about Mort, your dad. Yeah. What was his reaction like when he heard that song?
Well, see, I thought he was going to be sort of like...
Because he's a hard man,
what are you doing writing songs about me? I don't want people talking about me, sort of thing. But I think he gets how much I put into it, and he doesn't get the world at all. Like, he doesn't know what it takes to write a song or what music's about. He knows what he likes listening to, but I think he sort of accepted that that's what I do, and not that he wouldn't accept it, but he's sort of like, he doesn't coach me. He just goes, "Good on you, mate. Like, that sounds good." And he's always at me gigs. He just doesn't understand. Like, it's it's like if your father was a tradesman and you become a tradesman, and your father can say, one thing you can always make a mistake when you're a young tradesman is this.
Yeah.
I don't have that with music with him, but I respect what he's done for me, and he respects what I'm doing with my life, and it's good. But it's an unspoken thing.
Yeah, all right.
Unspoken thing.
And you don't need to talk about this.
Nah.
But other influences on your songwriting, in the same vein as your father, your mother, I've noticed as your producer, a lot of stuff you write has been sort of influenced by your relationship there.
Yeah, well...
Do you want to talk about any of that or not?
Well, I sort of just... Whatever's going on in my life at the time is influenced me. Like, I like to think I'd write my songs about stuff that's actually real and happening. Like, I don't set out to write a song... Like, Legacy example before, you said, write about this, but it's like, okay, how does this work for me? Like, it's not some fantasy song that I've written to try and get a legion of fans and sell heaps of copies. It's like, what do I want to write about? So that's, whatever's going on in my life at the time, I'll write about. It'll come out in some shape or form. And that's I think I can't, my lyrics have got more mysterious over the years in general. Like, instead of being like, the dog is brown, it's like, I'll think about how can I get around that but still get the same message. And that's this experience. And you've pushed me a lot there. Yeah. Like, you'll say, what's a better lyric there? But I'm so hard on myself now with lyrics.
People could probably get a taste of that on Friday.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. SOS comes out Friday, which is very deep, but I think a lot of people are going to relate to this song because there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Something for everyone. Like, and that's when you meet people and talk to them about their lives, there's always something.
Yeah. There's
always something that happens to people that gets them a little bit down or whatever. But yeah, I just hope people like it. And
so writing for you is very cathartic. You know, you've gone through an experience, you write about it, that feels good. You rinse and repeat that kind of process.
Well,
then there's the other side of being a musician where you're like, okay, I don't have anything to really draw on right now. I'm going to write about something completely fictional.
Yeah.
And like, how do you find that?
I haven't done much of it, to be honest. I've done bits and pieces, but I try and be productive in some shape or form. So it's like, okay, I play guitar all the time. I've got 16 guitars. I love guitar. You know how much I love guitar. So I pick a guitar up and that tone will evoke something. Okay, that's got a bit of a raw feel to it. Okay, well then what's a riff? Okay, what's a chorus? What chords can I use? What else? All right, cool. That sounds really good. That's in the pile. Whereas SOS, I just wrote everything down on a bit of paper because I was just feeling so cranky. It was during COVID, so tensions were high. Really cranky, and then everything came out. And then I looked at the words and went, like, it was just a subconscious songwriter coming out in me that they sort of had these little couplets occasionally and these little things that made them into more of a poem. Yeah. And it's not a rhyming song. It doesn't rhyme. And I went, okay, so that's what's some chords that are going to, and I'm always discovering new chords they're real things, but I'm a self-taught guitarist, you know that. I don't really, I just find it myself on the fretboard. And I found these chords. I went, oh, that's an interesting chord. Like, that's a bit cool. All right. And then they fell into the song. And it was really nice because usually what happens is it's the other way around. Guitar, then words on top, then song's done. But this one was the other way around, which was awesome. And I remember I tried to do it and I went, oh, no, this is not, like, good on you for trying, but this is not going to work. And then I think it was like mid-COVID. Jodes opened a bottle of wine on a Saturday night, so we had dinner and had a glass of wine. Had a couple of glasses and I went, I'm going to go back and have another go. And just that little bit of loose, like, I think because I just dropped the ball on it, I expected it not to work again. So I was like, whatever. So I sort of like just, and then came back in and it was just like literally fell into place. So I remember ringing you the next day going, we got to strike while the iron's hot here.
Yeah.
And there it is. And it's a real testament because I didn't think it was that strong. Like I thought it was strong, but I didn't think it was like one of the heavy hitters on the album. But everyone I sent it to in the industry, like management and stuff like that, and anyone that had a musical ear, that song, that one
cool.
there. And I was like, really? Like, okay.
Have you got tips for anyone about writer's block? Like, do you get writer's block?
Oh yeah.
Do you have a method for getting out of it?
No. It's being, my upbringing was always up in the mountains and stuff, and you know, like you just don't know what the day is going to bring. It could snow, could be 30 degrees, could be like, you know, wind sideways, and you've just got to deal with what you got. So for me, it's like, okay, you can't write lyrics, but what can you do? You can think of topics. You can write guitar stuff. You can think about what percussion or what beats or what thing could come next. You can ring your mate who's like, Kojo's been really good with that. I'll talk to Kojo about stuff like that, and he's sort of just, because he comes from a hip hop background, which is a completely different school of thought to me.
Yeah.
And he just makes me think about things differently.
Yeah, cool.
But like, I think if you fight writer's block and go, I'm just going to write a song, and you sort of resent every word that you've written because you've had writer's block.
Yeah.
What's the point? You can always do something. You can always find time to develop your other game. You know, like that's, like I've been getting vocal coaching, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Like I've always been able to sing, I feel, and I wouldn't do it otherwise, but it's like learning about your instrument. Like I've been seeing Danny Pass has been great. She's been showing, but it's because I've got so much experience, everything makes sense. It's like, oh, that's what that is. Oh, that feeling. Oh, yeah. So now like I'm so much more confident singing, and like you probably wouldn't notice that much. I'll be interested to know if you notice when we do catch up next in the studio. Yeah. But I'm really about self-improvement at the moment. Like sourcing help from things that I never, because everything I've done is pretty much self-taught, and I'm proud of that. But now I'm at the point where it's like, why be like that when you don't have to be?
Yeah.
So I'm getting stuff. I'm talking. I want to hang out with other guitarists. I want to hang out with other singers, different genres. Like I listen to any genre of music now, and I go, I can take something away from this. What is it?
What would be your thoughts on co-writes?
Oh, definitely all about it.
Yeah.
Like Hope Wilkins is supporting me at my Canberra show for the Canberra album launch, and I've said to Hope, like, let's hang out and write some songs. Yeah. Even if I just play guitar or whatever, I I want to feel the process from other people. But like even Toddy and Pat and Joe for the band record, it's not a solo record, so it's not like I'm calling every shot. They've made me really look at things differently.
Cool.
And I'm really happy about that.
I feel like it's a very valuable and a really quick way for people to get better at what they do.
Definitely. Yeah, just see it from a different place.
Musicians can be really kind of insular people as well. And they're like, no, this is my song. I don't want to share it. And these are my ideas. And getting past that can be quite hard for people.
Well, look, interesting you say that. If I had a song that I thought was 6 foot and bulletproof with my own ability, I probably wouldn't bring it to a co-write.
Yeah.
I might bring it for feedback, but I wouldn't open it up.
Yeah.
But the song that I have writer's block with, and if you're serious about your writing, you're writing all, like songs all the time.
Yeah.
So it's about just knowing yourself, like what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
Like I'm so open to it, but I'm also very in control of what I do and what I know I can do.
But I think there's a conversation to be had about quantity over quality at that co-write level. Because if you get in a room with someone and you write 3 songs, 5 songs, potentially, maybe even in a day, they can always be improved.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I think that's something that, I would like to see more of that in Canberra, is people hanging out with each other and writing more songs together. And I think that's a really quick way to kind of, I don't know, sort of stimulate the songwriting economy.
I would like when you discuss that, then what I was thinking about is like, for me, it'd be starting a song. Like I want to know how you start a song.
Starting's the hardest part, right?
How do you start a song?
Yeah.
Like for me, it's always like, oh, that's a sick little guitar lick. Oh, that's cool. That'll be something.
You know who's really good at this stuff? Beth Monzo. Do you know Beth?
I do know Beth. Yeah.
She's gold.
Okay.
Anyone listening who wants extra help with songwriting stuff, Beth Monzo.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
On the collaboration thing, we got a question from Luke about the shows coming up. Are they going to be band shows or more solo shows?
They're going to be solo. It's going to be the Blues Roots setup. So I'll be playing old songs and the new songs. We're just not in a position to be playing band shows at the moment with Joe's hand health and Todd's just had a baby. We just it's just not the right time. But yeah, that hurts me so much because how tight we were as a band before COVID. We rehearsed. Oh man, we were doing a cover of "Give Me Shelter" by the Stones mid-set. It was going, don't want to talk about it.
The launch event was ready to go at the basement.
So we had to refund 140 tickets, and it was still 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
That how hard that is to do. That's such a great start.
Yeah. What's that worth dollars wise?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we can look forward to a big tour around the country, basically. So people can catch up on what they missed last year.
Hopefully, we can get it done. It's looking good. I'm trying to be positive, but I think we're going to be right. We'll get it done.
Well, we've been going for over an hour. But there's one more question I want to get at. We got to touch on your time at Abbey Road.
Oh, my time.
Yes.
What was that like?
Oh, well, it was probably one of the best times of my life, really. There's a bit of a story there. There's a bit of a story.
Yeah, how did you end up there?
Well, so I was going to London anyway, and I'm like, I've pretty much committed my life to being a recording engineer. I'm going to be so close. I'm going to be so close to Abbey Road. I got to get there. I didn't even know if I could. I didn't know. Can I just how do I get into the most famous place in the world for recording engineers? And I called him. I tracked down the number and I was like, yo, how do I get in? There's no other way to do it, right? I spoke to the studio manager at the time called Colette Barber, and she's like, well, I've got a couple of studios, free. It's going to cost you. And I was like, hit me. I'm doing this. I'm committing. And I was working with some bands from Canberra at the time, and I was like, I'm taking them with me, and I'm mixing them at Abbey Road, and this is going to be really cool. And I realised in this conversation, after this conversation with Colette, that I'd mucked up my dates. And so I'm like, I'm going to be there on the 17th or whatever it was. And she's like, well, no, I'm so sorry, mate. We got nothing. Yeah, it's Abbey Road. We're booked.
Got the Queens of the
And
Stone
I was like,
Age.
oh, well, there goes there goes that dream, right? And then I've checked with the organised person in the relationship, being my, at the time, girlfriend, Beck.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a long time ago now, yeah.
I may or may not have had an engagement ring on me while I was at Abbey Road.
I knew about this, I remember
But that would have been too much about me, so that didn't happen. I've called Colette back and been like, Colette, I want to come to Abbey Road so bloody bad. I've changed my flights. I just fucked up my flights. I've changed my flights. I'm coming the week after. What do you got? She goes, oh, I don't have that studio you want, but I do have one room available, and that's the penthouse suite. I'll let you have it for the same price as the cheapest studio. The cheapest studio. Mm. And I was like, book me in. And I rocked on up. Knock, knock, knock. Hey, Colette, it's me. I made the flight. I'm here. I've got this cool band I'm mixing. They took me on the tour, took me around, showed me the Lady Madonna piano and the heritage listed spaces and all this kind of thing. Met some friends, and strangely, that was the same day that Colette, who'd been the studio manager there for, decades, announced her retirement. And so Abbey Road has a bar in there, literally just like a pub inside Abbey Road. And they called all the staff down into the bar. And I didn't realise that I was rubbing shoulders with, the best mastering engineers at the time and recording engineers. I don't know who these people are. Now I know who these people are. And they've got champagne out and all this. And like, Matt, do you want champagne? I'm like, I would friggin' love champagne, but I'm also paying a lot of money to be here right now. So I cruised back up to the penthouse suite. I did my mixing for my Canberra band at the time, who broke up and the song never came out, because that's how the music industry goes. But it was one of the best days of my life. My girlfriend at the time was there as well, hanging out, and we snuck a couple of mates in, and it was awesome.
I remember that. It was
cool. It was cool. I asked you, I was like, Biilmann, I'm mixing at Abbey Road. What do you want me to do? And you were like, timing's off.
I was so filthy. Like, out of how busy we've been over the last 6 years to not have something on the go, I can't remember what that was between. It must have been, was it before streams?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I must have been just writing that record.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we're just getting started. We can do stuff like that.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was cool. It was a great experience.
Yeah, I remember that. I was filthy, but I was so happy for you at the same time. It was good.
All right, lads. Well, thank you for sharing some stories.
Thanks, Nick.
It's been great to have you in.
Sorry for crapping on. That's what we like to do.
Nah, dude, that was awesome, and all the best with the shows and the album. Can't wait to hear it and see what happens.
Massive shout out to Nick V, who's behind the lens here.
Yeah,
he's doing great things.
Mate,
for us.
smashing it.
Yeah, you can't really see in the setup that
there is 50 cameras in this room.
Yeah, I feel violated, but it's good.
We got you covered. We got you
covered, all right. But yeah, legend Nick, thanks for doing it, and look forward to watching the rest of the ones that are following.
Awesome. Catch you, lads.
See you, mate.